Today's objective is using the multiplicative inverse to solve an equation. If you have a problem with a fraction coefficient, you need to multiply by the multiplicative inverse, which is the reciprocal, instead of dividing. So let's do some examples so you know what we're talking about. So here's our problem. 4 sevenths x equals negative 12. Now if it was just 4x, we would divide both sides by 4. But since it's 4 sevenths x, instead of dividing by 4 sevenths, we multiply by the reciprocal. Because remember, when you divide with fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. So these cancel out. 4 goes into itself once, 7 goes into itself once, so we're just left with x. And here, I look at my problem and I see one negative, so I know my answer is going to be negative. Simplify. Always simplify before you multiply. 4 goes into itself once. 4 goes into 12 3 times. Now 3 times 7 is my numerator. 21. Oopsie, that didn't work very well. 21. And 1 over 1 is my denominator, so I don't have to write that. And I don't worry about the negative in the problem because I've already taken care of that in my answer. Here's another problem. This is a two-step problem. This was just a one-step problem. So my problem is negative 11/15 x plus 4/5 equals 1/3. Well, when I have a problem with fractions, one way to solve it is to use a common denominator. So I'm going to get a common denominator. And I notice that 5 and 3 both go into 15. So I'm going to use 15 as my lowest common denominator. So I'm just going to copy down this term again and write plus blank over 15 equals blank over 15. Then I go back and decide what my numerator is going to be based on what did I do to the denominator to change it. So what did I do to 5 to make it be 15? I multiplied it by 3. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 3 and get 12. And what did I do to 3 to make it be 15? I multiplied it by 5. So 1 times 5 is 5. Now I can solve my problem by doing inverse operations. So I'm going to subtract 12/15 from both sides of my equation. And then this zeroes out. So now I have negative 11 over 15x equals 5 take away 12 is negative 7/15. Now I multiply by the multiplicative inverse, the reciprocal. And if it's a negative, the multiplicative inverse is also a negative. Negative 15/11, negative 15/11. These sides simplify to 1. I'm not going to cross it out this time because I know it does. 2 negatives make a positive, so I don't have to worry about my sign. 15 and 15 simplify to 1, so my answer is 7/11. 7/11, lucky numbers. All right, let's do one more. Problem like this, then I have a word problem. Here I have 1/2 plus 3/8 x equals 3/16. And once again, I notice that 2 and 8 both are factors of 16, so 16 is going to be my least common denominator. It's like the least common multiple, but it's in the denominator. So I rewrite my problem with my new denominators, copy down this term because it's the one that didn't change, and now I evaluate. Well, I know that 1/2 is the same as 8/16. And 8 times 2 is 16, so 3 times 2 is 6. And there's my new problem. Now there are other ways to solve these, which I will do in upcoming videos, but today we're getting common denominators. Okay, now I just do the inverse operations to solve. So I subtract 8/16, and I get 6/16 equals negative, sorry, not negative, whoopsie. Oh gosh, and it's always nice when you erase right away. 13 minus 8 is positive 5, sorry. 16. So sometimes you make a mistake, but you just need to notice and fix it, okay? It's totally fine to make a mistake, but you have to pay attention like I just did. Oh, I made a mistake. All right, 13 take away 8 is 5. Now we multiply by the reciprocal. 16/6. 16/6. Now, what some people do is they kind of space out when they're doing the problem and they go, oh, this can be simplified. Well, yeah, but that's not the point of what we're doing right now. So we got new fractions that aren't simplified to get the common denominator. So don't go reduce it again right now, because that's not what we're doing. Okay, but these simplify out. 1, 1, 1, 1. So we just have x equals positive times positive. It's going to be positive. These 16s cancel out, so we just have 5/6. And that's our answer. Now we could check this by substituting it back into that equation and adding it up. All right, I'm not going to do it right now. Well, all right, I'll do one. So 1/2 plus, because this is what you can do on a test to check, 3/8 times 5/6 equals 13/16. So this is a problem like we had on the video from yesterday, where we have addition and multiplication. We need to follow order of operations. So we have 1/2 plus, this is 3/8, Mrs. Bowden, 3/8, make sure you copy it right. 6 and 3 simplify, 1, 2, so we get 5/16 equals 13/16. All right, once again, to add, you need common denominators. This is the same as what? 8/16 plus 5/16 equals 13/16. Nice writing, boy oh boy. And what's 8 plus 5? 13/16. So 13/16 equals 13/16. So that's how you would check one of these problems. All right, word problem. There are 1,680 cows at the farm. If the birth rate is an average of 3.5 calves per week, it's average, that's why it can be a half, how long will it take for the farm to reach its capacity of 1,750 cows? Well, this is what we would do to figure it out. Cows we have plus average number of cows per week times the number of weeks equals the total capacity. So we have 1,680 cows, 3.5 cows per week, we don't know the number of weeks, equals 1,750 cows. So let's just start solving our problem. Do the inverse operation, subtract 1,680, that makes 0. I'm going to just circle it sometimes to show you it makes 0. Subtract 1,680. I get 3.5. Now I'm going to change this since I know that I'm going to have to use improper fractions. I'm just going to change it now when I write it down. So 3 times 2, 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So that's 7 halves x equals 80 to 50 is 80. Right? Because to get up to 1,700 is 20. Oh my gosh, I added wrong. Ugh. Once again, I made a mistake, but I figured it out. Okay, to get up to 1,700 is 20, and 20 plus 50 is 70. Wow, good job. So I guess I'm giving you good examples of making mistakes today. So there's my math for this, and now I need to multiply by the multiplicative inverse. 2 sevenths, 2 sevenths. I'm going to put this over 1 so you can see I've lined up my numerators and denominators. These cancel out, so I just get x. 7 goes into 70 10 times. It goes into itself once. 10 times 2 is 20. And what are we asking? We're saying how long will it, it's 3.5 cows per week, how long will it take for the farm? So it's 20 weeks. Because remember, word problems need to have a word in the answer. And that's it.